Hey everyone. So tonight, Adam and I will be discussing the investigation we did at the Eloise Asylum last Sunday. So, Adam is one of our followers, and he flew all the way in from Texas to hang out with his favorite girls in the paranormal field. They're right. But yeah, it was really cool meeting Adam. I was really impressed by your the way you investigated, Adam. You have a unique way of the way you would approach questions, asking the spirits. So, but anyhow, you want to go ahead and tell everybody how your trip was, you know?
Well, it was great. I enjoyed meeting you and your sisters and everybody else that was there, especially Epic Eric. He was pretty cool,
He is cool.
and yes, he is. So I wish I can work with all of y'all again. So one day, hope to work with y'all again.
We need to
But
get.
yeah, yeah. My trip up there was good. I do feel I made a mistake on traveling up there the day of the investigation, where I felt I should have went up there the day before, just so I could have been fully rested for the investigation. That was my only regret.
Yeah, you were
But
exhausted. I When we seen you, I was like, "Oh man, he is definitely tired." Poor guy.
yeah, so like that, but that was my bad on my part. So like I said, I felt like I should have went up there the day before, so and you know been fully rested. So, but other than that, it was I had a lot of fun. So
What did you think of the place? Oh, there's that cardinal. Oh my gosh, that red cardinal just came to the window again. Sorry, I had to say that because it is like 9 o'clock here and a little bit after nine, and that cardinal who seems to love me when I'm sitting in here keeps coming over here. That's crazy. Go ahead. I'm just shocked to see the cardinal right now so late. Go ahead.
we you got to report it. So and what better time to do it than being on front of a camera to say it's here. So
It hits the window hard. It usually scares me because, like, hey, it tries to get my attention.
yeah, I mean, hopefully next time it doesn't, you know, fly right through there. Um,
What did you think of the first of all, I wanted to say, what did you think of Michigan?
I liked the cool weather. Big difference from Texas. Very big
Oh,
difference from
yeah,
Texas weather.
definitely.
I mean, even during the day, it was nice and cool. And then when it got dark, that cool air was coming in, that breeze was coming in. It's like, man, like if I could, I'd go right out that window with a pillow and a blanket and just sleep right there. It felt that nice.
I
Like,
mean, it's awesome to camp, here in Ohio, because even though it's hot in the summer like it is, but it gets cools off a little bit at night. So yeah. So,
and yeah, I mean, everybody who I met, you know, aside from y'all was, I mean, y'all were super nice. Everybody was super nice. But people at their hotel were nice. Just other people that were around were really, really nice. So I enjoyed that very much.
mhm. So, what did you think of my sisters? I know, right? How do you think I feel, Adam? They drive me nuts.
Oh goodness, I
Oh, we have a good
they're,
time.
they're they're not they're not listening, are they? No, I'm kidding. I like being around them. They were a lot of fun. Just between them two, but same time between all three of y'all, and that's like who do I listen to more? Who? I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna shake my head and say yes to all of y'all. Um, no, Chastity, like I told her this, we were there talking, and like I told her I like her level of patience. Like it just like she has like certain amount of patience, then she like has to like get things moving and get things going. It's like boom, I like that.
Well, it is good that she's like that, but she can't be in a place for too long. Like, we'll go into a room and 5 minutes, if we're not getting anything, she's like, well, let's get out of here. We're not getting anything. And I'm like, you can't be like that because it's like, investigating is kind of like fishing. You throw your line in with your bait. You don't know what you're going to get. You could get something or you might not get nothing. But you can't explain that to her. She can't sit still long. Her she's a very hyper person, and she loses her attention span is very small, because let me tell you, she that's why she's like, let's go, let's go, let's go, always on the move.
hmm I enjoyed that about her, so I like that quality in people. So go, go,
Ah,
go. But at the same time, like it is like what you said about fishing. You gotta hang out there for maybe an hour, maybe 20 minutes. You never know with what's happening right there with you. So it's just like while you had on your what you call it, your brain
oh, the
your
brainwave.
machine
Yeah.
brainwave that slipped my mind. And like it's like when you had that on, and it just seemed like there was something like off to the side of us, but and then at the same time like to how you had the monitor set up with the DVR like back there, like it just seemed like something was like back there. It seemed like it was there, but then it seemed like it would like not be there, but then it would like come back, and I don't know what it was, but it just yeah, like if something was there, like when they're like, hey, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing here?
Well, the brainwave, it would look like something that, if they were having that, what was that procedure called? They performed on people in asylums. I can't remember what it was called, but to them, that device would look like something like that they would have wore, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably why, uh, they something was creeping up on us, and you were sensing something up on us, because they were probably like, wait a minute, what are you doing? What is this? What's on Mandy's head? What are you doing to her?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. It was shock therapy. Yeah. Yep. Lobotomies. Yep.
Right, right. So, and then like, then even like when me and you were in that room, adjacent to that room, it just seemed like whatever was staying in that doorway, like staying in that doorway, but at the same time like dipping back around the corner, the door jam, the door, like it didn't want to come out. It was like hiding, but trying to figure out what we were doing on the other side, on that side.
Yeah, it was almost like it was afraid, like almost like it would be next. You know what I mean? Like maybe it was wondering, am I next? Maybe they had a lineup for them. Maybe they had a room where they just had them waiting because they would be next. I'm not for sure. I'm just kind of speculating on, how they would have done it, but that's kind of vibe I think I was getting, because whatever it was like creeping up on us. So, hi everyone tuning in.
Some of my awesome, beautiful friends and family that I love so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Um, but, but yeah, and then because how you mentioned, like I was asking like just different questions, and like on the plane right up there, leaving from Texas to Detroit, I just was watching different videos on those kind of places, places where you do get help, you know, mentally, and just like hearing about some of the things that the orderlies would do to the people that live there and stuff like that, and that's why I was asking just different things about food and you know how they live and stuff like that.
Yeah, you were really, like I said, you were really unique on how you went about asking your questions. A lot of people don't think outside the box like that. They don't come up with questions like that. Usually it's the same thing. So, what happened to you? How old were you? How'd you die? You were like
Mhm.
really, I was like, some of the things he's asking, I would have never thought about that.
I do feel like that. Like too many people do ask, like what you mentioned, the same thing. How do you this? But one thing I do like to ask most of the time is something like along, like what was your favorite holiday? Because I feel like holidays to me, you know, to different people, they're good things or they're bad things, But for some point, it's full of emotion, whether it's good emotion or bad emotion, like, oh, my wife broke up with me on Christmas, or it's Christmas, but at the same time, my baby was born on Christmas, just different things that may invoke a response with that person.
So after we did the brainwave, okay, and you and I ended up going on our own together, and the others went their way. What did you think about what was occurring? Because you also was like getting things that you said you don't usually get when you're out there investigating. You were like, you were kind of, I could tell something was affecting you. And also when you're really tired like that and you're sleep deprived, your energy is really low and spirits will take advantage of you, and you're more calm, you're going to be tired, of course, but you're more calm, so you're probably more open up than you realize. So I was watching you, and you just was like getting some weird things. You kept like looking, you were hearing things, you get up and take off, and I'm like, oh my, where's he going, you definitely was picking up on things. And I think you were really surprised because you said that you don't usually get that much attention
Hmm.
when you're out there.
And you were right. Like, there's been only one time that I can say where, and not just me, but like my whole team, we were feeling the exact same thing. Um, that was all that one time. But like you said, that night it just seemed like something was trying not get at me, but maybe trying to communicate, maybe trying to get my attention, maybe
Hmm.
trying to separate me from you. But it there was something there, and I kept feeling it like on my left side, coming down my arm, like if it was standing near me, maybe, or making me feel a certain way.
Now, did you see something? Because I thought you mentioned that you did see something, or I'm pretty sure you mentioned you seen like a shadow in the light down the hallway.
It might have been it might have been something. It might have been maybe a bird, because that room I was sitting down, the floodlight from outside was pouring in there, and
Yeah.
maybe it might have been a bird across in front of the light. But then again, maybe it might have been a shadow in that room who crossed in front of the doorway. And that's why I took off down that long hallway to the room, and because it did look like it was something like that, to where it blacked out for like a second.
Well, you know what I like about you too is you didn't like get scared and not go. You hear something or you think you see something, you go towards it. Some people won't do that, they're like, oh no, I'm not going down there. Or, as for me, I prefer, okay, let's go see something is over here. We need to go check this out. Yeah. So I
What?
really like that because you don't know what you're going to come across, if anything, you know,
Hmm. Thanks. Well, thank you. Well, I did like how. Remember when me and you were sitting on those chairs and we heard something
during the,
behind
yeah,
us,
yes,
and me and you, like, we both,
looked at
like,
each
how we were
other.
that close. We
We
both
had that
turned,
little moment
but
like,
sometimes, like, like, what the heck? And we
yeah,
both looked at that. We're like, that was something. Like, I heard something, you heard something. We both turned, looked at each other. We're like, what was that? Type of thing. And like, we both, like, got up to, like, go check it out, whatever the heck it was.
well, what it was is there was, it sounded like someone walking down the hall. Like you could hear feet shuffling. At least that's what I
Something.
heard. Huh?
And yeah, something like that. And hey, Holly, thank you for watching. Um, but yeah, and um, but yeah, it did sound like something was back there, and that's what I liked about, me and you. We turned each other, looked at each other. What was that? Got up, went over there to see what it was.
And you were like seriously down there. You were like you just like on a mission. I'm like, this man ain't playing around. He's on it.
Mhm.
He's like, where you at? You were like doing
Exactly.
a whole perimeter check down the hallway and in the rooms. And I'm just
Mhm.
like sitting there like, oh boy. Like I'm alone here. What's going to happen? Why? Maybe they wanted to distract you to get you away from me. Maybe to come towards me. I don't know, but I do know when we were sitting there, we had all that going on. It drained that intercom box. Do you remember? We had to go
Oh,
back to that room to change the batteries. Think about that.
that happened. Yes, that happened, like, literally, like, with what, like, within, like, a minute, 30 seconds of that
Yeah,
noise to
it was
the
all in that
to
same time frame.
yes, yes, really, really quick, uh time of,
And they needed that energy and they pulled from that intercom box. I'm sure they were trying to take energy from us too. But yeah, that intercom box, that's why it was making that funny noise, because they were draining the batteries from it. Once I changed the batteries, it was good to go for the rest of the night. So
and because there was that noise, and I think it was, I don't remember exactly when. It might have been like a few minutes before that, where those rooms alongside of us, like, there was a noise back there in one of those rooms. Because remember, I think we went in one of them. There was like a file cabinet or some type of thing, and like, what
well,
was that?
yeah. Yeah, there was. We went back and those were the offices. That's where they had
Mhm.
their little offices set up. And you're right. We did hear something back there, like a something. I don't know if it dinged on that cabinet door, but yeah, definitely.
And
Hello,
yeah,
everyone.
went back there and nothing. Didn't see nobody. Didn't hear nothing else after that from that area. But
I feel like that place had a lot of residual. It had a lot of residual there. I'm not done reviewing those cameras because it's a long process, but I'm more than halfway done. And here I got an investigation tomorrow night, so it's like so I'll
man,
probably spend as much as I can tomorrow trying to finish up what I can. It's just a process. We haven't gotten anything so far, but there has been some weird things on the live feed after, because I have to go back and watch all the lives from our investigation because you might come across something. And one of our followers who was with us that night, Pam, she likes to go and watch them too. And if she sees something, she usually contacts me. And yeah, we thought we were getting stuff. She was sending me videos. We thought we caught an apparition on the live feed. Well, it was actually with one of my cameras, but it was recorded with the live feed, and but it was debunked. We debunked it. But I almost posted the video because I'm like, this just isn't making sense the way it was matching up, and I just knew there had to have been an explanation for it. And yep, it was debunked. But I was like, dang
oh,
it! It was like, oh,
almost.
close. And that's why you got to really be careful on what what you think is a shadow figure or an apparition. You got to make sure you try to debunk everything because it could be other factors that are making you see something that's not there.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
But all in all, like I did like that place. I love that building. Like I still want to go back, especially that third and fourth floor. Like I want to do it all over again. Like I want a second chance to go at it again. So
I would like to go with maybe just 4 or 5 people, and it would be awesome. And I would like to take turns going in the building alone to investigate it, kind of walking through and just see. I know you're like, no, Mandy. But listen, I think when you're alone is when you're going to get a lot of communication most of the time anyway, because they take advantage of you being alone and you know come to you. They're drawn. At least they do me. They like want to come right up on me when I'm alone. So, and sometimes it's not a comfortable feeling.
no, well, I mean that's how I am with my team because my team, most of my team are females, and like Lorinda, she likes to go on her own with her thousand rods or with her equipment. And there's been a few times where like she'll separate from the group and go this way, and I'll
Mhm.
follow her behind, and like not like be on her, but like let her go off, but at the same time like be behind her, like keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't something doesn't get at her, or if she just might happen to trip on something, you know.
Yeah,
And I just feel like me being one of the few guys on the team, I gotta like keep an eye on them, you know.
yeah. So after we ended up changing the batteries in the intercom box, where did we go? You and I took off somewhere after that. I think that's when we went back down to the office, but we ended up going to third floor or the fourth floor because it was where the doctor, the chair, the bed thing
Hmm.
that I laid in. So I'm kind of I'm going through the events of what had happened, how the investigation went, how we started it, and how it went. So at that point, you and I, after we changed the batteries, we went back out there and we went up to the next level and was kind of walking around, seeing what we could get. There was a lot of stuff coming through that intercom box. Definitely.
Right, right. And like it did say was it Dr. Glenn? Was it? I mean, like I do believe it was
Yeah,
the
I
doctor.
forgot about that. It was I said, "What's your name, doctor?" Because I was sitting in his chair, the dentist chair. Yeah, thank you, Christina. Yeah, and I said, "What's your name, doctor?" And he said, "Glenn." Very clear. I mean, just like I'm talking to you, it was that clear.
Mhm.
So now we know the doctor's name was Glenn.
Yeah, yeah. So
They
and
never told us that they had a doctor named Glenn, did they?
no, no, no.
So yeah, they never mentioned it. So interesting.
But but you
What did
know
you think about that room, Adam? I know you were picking up on some stuff in that room.
that one alongside the where the DVR was on the other side.
Well, that room too, but the room where the dentist chair was.
You know what? Like it just seemed like the same thing. Like something was because how that chair was on like on this side, this end of the room. It just seemed like something was like on that end, like not to the side, not to this side, but like on that far end. Like if there was like a knock or like a tap or something from over there. And then I think like a minute later, I think that's when you suggested put that REM pod on that doorway. I think it was to the hallway or something, but you suggested put it right here on this side.
Hmm.
And
We
then he
didn't
brought
really,
out the what?
we didn't get a lot of REM pod action, did we?
No, no. That I think the only time we really did get something is when we were in the solitary confinement area.
Oh yeah,
Here and there, but not much to really like, you know,
yeah.
blow up about. But here and there was something setting that thing off, a couple of times.
So I have a question. When you left me alone to do that, while you went to find the other ladies or and see, if they wanted to join us, um, what did you feel when you walked by yourself? Did you feel like anything was following you? Did you pick up on anything?
I think at that point of the night, I was like not so much focused on what was there, but
Mm-hmm.
just focused on like what was maybe trying to get at me, if that makes sense. But the simple fact that how you said, earlier that night with me being tired, something's gonna try to, get my attention or get at me. And I think the thought of me going back to my hotel room alone at the same time, and then the stress of me is like, man, I gotta freaking fly back to Texas tomorrow, and I should have stayed here another day and then fly back to Texas, the day after, you know, and like, but yeah, like I said, if next time I go to someplace that far, I'm gonna go like the day before, and I just hate the fact that I was that tired going into the investigation, and just like you said, just the idea of maybe being so tired. It's like, man, I hated that. So
I don't like to be too drained like that during investigations, but then again, I don't mind it because I know I'm going to be getting something. And I know they're going to take advantage of my energy because they know that I'm like drained already, and it's almost like, let's get her. Let's go
yeah,
torture her. So I don't really mind it. But your situation would have been a little different because it was almost like someone who never had no sleep for 2 days. That's how tired you looked. I don't know
well,
how much sleep you even got.
if you think about it, like technically, I think I was awake for a little over. I mean, besides a little bit of sleep that I got on the plane, which is like maybe like 20 minutes, I think I've been awake for like 25, 26 hours.
See? That's what I'm talking
Cause
about,
like,
guys. This man was dead tired.
cause like, was it a Saturday night? I fell asleep around 7:30 in the evening. Woke up at 1:30. Got up, got dressed, got an Uber to the airport. I was at the airport by like 2:40, 5 in the morning. Uh, took off 5 o'clock. Landed in Dallas, Texas. From Dallas, Texas to Detroit, Texas. Got there around 11. And I I do want to say thank you, Pam, again for offering to pick me up from the airport and drive me to my hotel, and then pick me up from the hotel and drive me to the investigation.
We
So
were going to
thank
get
you.
you, but Pam was like, "Well, you guys got all your equipment in your car. Where are you gonna, And I was like, "Well, I was thinking I didn't know how much stuff you had, but we would have made it work." But Pam was like, "Well, I can just get him." So yeah, thank you, Pam, for that one. She did
Yes,
stepped up for us
thank
on
you
that.
very much. But
Yeah.
yeah, because like I said, the flight from Dallas, Texas to Detroit was a little over 2 hours, and I think like because I normally don't sleep on planes, but I think just from me being so tired, like I finally like crashed, and it must have been like a 20-minute nap. And like I said, next time I do go that far, I'm so showing up the day before the investigation, not the day of the investigation. So and that was the farthest I've ever gone. And before the farthest was Fort Wayne, Indiana. A little bit below that, but it was still a headache to get up there. So
Well, we had a blast with you coming, and I enjoyed investigating with you. It was a lot of fun. So back to when we were in the room on that third or fourth floor, when you left me alone there the first time, I was fine. I was communicating with spirits. They were talking through the intercom box. They never lit up the cat ball or the REM pod, but they were coming through the intercom box, and I felt comfortable, right? But
mhm.
the second time you went and left me again, that's when I felt really uncomfortable. It felt like something was like hovering over me from behind that chair I was sitting in, you know? And that really creeped me up to the point where I got up out of that chair and I was like, oh no, something's up on me. So I went over and stood up kind of against the wall. And it
Mhm.
was like, the energy shifted. It totally changed. It did. And I was like, oh God. But when you got up there, everything just kind of got a little bit quiet, not too much. Did the spirits touch your shoulders? Well, I didn't feel anyone touching me, Kristen, but I felt someone hovering over me. Yeah, yeah,
And
you're right, Don. You did. It was creepy. Someone had their hair pulled on the fifth floor. Huh? We never got to do the basement. I wish we could have. That would have been awesome. But
it,
anyway, do you think once Pam joined us, do you think the activity picked up, or you know?
I mean, yes and no. It I feel like if we had more time, it would have picked up even more. But um, what was I gonna say? Well, oh, because how you said you felt like if something was hovering behind you, like in that chair, like that's exactly what I was feeling when you had your brainwave machine on, and like it just felt like something was like back there, and like with that, how you said it, that one DVR camera in that one corner to our left, like I was hoping like that camera would have like picked up something like you know towards the monitor.
Huh? Well, when Pam did come up there, she had pulled out my Ovilus 5, and it was working good. And that's when my other sisters came up to us, and they took the intercom box, and we kept the Ovilus 5 and the recorder. We actually did an EVP recording up there, and there was something captured on that recorder, but then my recorder, I couldn't get it to play it back. We listened to it
That's
one
right.
time, played it back, and then it wouldn't play again. So I was having problems, you know.
It yes. There was like I think like two or three different things that it was either like a whisper or like a breath or something. And then when you try to play it back in or try to record some more, like it like wouldn't record, it wouldn't play, it wouldn't do nothing. It just like went bonkers. So
Huh.
I remember that now.
Yeah, I'm telling you that Ovilus 5, it did go crazy. It was going crazy. Once they figured out how to use the words to manipulate it, to communicate through it, it just nonstop all night. And I was like, this thing is like, it's being awesome tonight because it does work a lot. But you just don't know how much you're going to get through it. And we were getting so much communication with the spirits. Do you remember when we went to go up to the fifth floor, what it was saying on the device? I think it was you with me. It might have been Pam. I don't know. Um, it said something about lady pushed or something like that. Fall, something like that.
Well,
I was getting someone fell down the stairs, and it was going shh. It was shushing me.
right, right, and yeah, and
No.
then like right, we were you were doing that, and then I think a little bit later you went ahead and went with the yes or no part, and you were asking different things, and it was like saying no, it kept saying no, like it wanted to tell us, but at the same time it didn't want to tell us. Like it
Hmm.
was like maybe like not allowed to tell us or something, you know, what had happened. Because I remember we were in that one room. I think it was where they prepared the meals or something like that. Because I think all the cabinets had like sugar and spice or something like that. Like they were labeled with
Yeah.
stuff. And we were in that room for a little bit.
Huh. What did you think about how I was using the Ovilus 5 to, when I had it on the yes or no, asking it questions, and I would, you tell me which room you're in, light up the green, and I
Hmm.
would walk and I'd go into each room. And I felt like the spirit was just like playing, because I'm like, okay, is this your room? This your room? And it would say yes, yes, and it would say no, no. It couldn't make up its mind. So I don't know if it was a child or if it was, maybe someone who was just playing, just having fun with us, teasing us.
Right. And that's why, hey Pam, and that's why like I was saying like you would ask it a question with the yes or no option, it'd be like no, 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 no. Like it like it like I think you asked like can you tell us what happened? It'd be like no. Do
Yeah.
you want to tell us what happened? Like no. And then I think you asked like, are you allowed to tell us what happened? Like no. Like come on now, work with this. You know.
Yeah. And it was almost, that's why I didn't know if it was a teenager or child. I don't know. And it just seemed like it was just playing games or something. But
Hmm. Hmm.
I think the night was starting to progress as we went on too. You know, are you all right?
I'm good. Just I think it's just my cat being my cat
I'm like, what's
knocking
going
things over.
on, please?
So, um, but yeah, it like I said, if I could have, if I was like feeling a lot better in the sense of I wasn't tired, and if we had like another hour, I'm pretty sure I would have been like, Mandy, leave me here in this room. Y'all go there. I want to do this.
I would have had no problem leaving you wherever you wanted to be. You should have said something because you
I
didn't have to like follow me. You could have went with anybody, or you could have went on your own. I just thought maybe you just you felt comfortable, investigating with me because you didn't know no one really, or I don't know.
well, I mean, I well, yeah, just with you being one of the head honchos of the group, I'm like, well, let me go with her, and then at the same time, like I was talking to Kayla that night, and there was a couple of experiments I wanted to do with her, but we just like because we were talking, I think like the next day or 2 days later, and like, oh, I was trying to look for you, and well, I was trying to look for you, and I thought you were down here. Well, I thought you were down here, and like we were just like we're talking like just trying to find each other like throughout the building, and I know like a few times like oh well, I wonder if she's up here, and she just said the same thing, like I was looking for
Mhm.
you, and I thought you might have been down there and up there, and but I and the same thing with like everybody, I would like to work with all of y'all again in the
We
future.
will. We will definitely do this again. And yeah, we will. Whether it's us going your direction or whatever the case may be. You coming to Ohio or whatever. We'll drive your way or whatever we got to do. We'll figure something out. Definitely.
Sure, sure.
But there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. What did you think about doing the mirror shrine scrying we were doing? in that one room. And that was a phone booth, by the way, where we put up the mirror, where you, Pam, and I put up the
Oh,
mirror.
mhm. I'm to be honest, um, like what am I trying to say? Like, I think to me, and I could be wrong. You know,
Mhm.
I don't mind being wrong. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But to me, I just think it's your mind playing in, just with anybody being in there. I think it's just your mind playing with yourself. You know, like your mind getting at you. But
Actually, you
who knows?
might be you, and you could be
Mhm.
right. And I really think it really depends on where you're at and what's going on, because there's been times I have done mirror screening at Randolph Asylum. They had a bunch of mirrors down in the basement, and I was left alone in this basement, and this basement is so creepy. I mean, they had cells in the basement. They locked people up in the basement there at the Randolph Asylum. And I wanted to do some mirror screening, and I sat in that room. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, that can be really intense, because sometimes you might not get like an image of something coming through the mirror you're looking into, but you might capture things behind you. So there might be something behind you that could walk by you, or you just don't know. And I've had this
Mhm.
happen to me there, and I had it happen to me in Tennessee at the Ura Shrine, because we do a lot of the mirror screening there, because the setup he has is cool, and I've had the shadow figures go by. You know, you could see it in the mirror, so it's really creepy. But again, your mind can play tricks on you when you're staring at yourself for a matter of time. It can play tricks on you, and you're right. And and that's what this whole mirror screening thing was about. The psychiatrist would have someone who like had self doubts about themselves, images, self like an image problem with the way they looked. You know, they didn't think they were pretty, or whatever the case is. They would set them in front of a mirror and have them, you know, look at yourself. You know, tell me what you see. It was almost like trying to have that person look at themselves in another light, not so much, you know, how we would do it. But
Right.
that's what that whole thing basically came from.
And maybe that was maybe part of my problem because like before, it's not till recently that I've started to like enjoy taking pictures with people. You know, because I always thought, like, you know what, Adam, you're not a very good looking guy. It's like, nobody's gonna want your picture, but it wasn't until I started going to these different investigations and, stuff like that that, I'll be with a teammate or a friend or somebody I just met, like, hey, let's take a picture. Like, okay, and I've started getting the habit of taking pictures with teammates or people I've met and stuff like that. So okay, I am feeling more comfortable with taking pictures with people and just having a ball and stuff like that. So
Hmm. Well, pictures, you never know what's going to pop up in a picture. It
right.
could be something totally unexpected, you know? You just don't know. So, yeah.
And I, I will say here in Texas, there's the Jefferson Hotel, and that hotel, a lot of rooms have different themes to them, and one room is a mirror room, full of mirrors on the walls and the ceiling,
Oh,
full of mirrors. And if you ever come down to Texas, I hope that you would visit that hotel and visit that room for all those mirrors. And
yeah, I
I know,
will.
like, the first time we went there, because I've been there, what, 3 times? The first time we went there, like, the hotel's, like, right here, and, like, right next door is, like, the town jail, or, whatever. And, like, they allow the prisoners to be out there hanging out, like, barbecuing and cutting grass, and there's like 5 or 6 guys in the orange jumpsuits, and there's like one cop in there. It's like, I'm like, well, how small Jefferson, Texas is. It's a small little itty bitty town. One of those you see like on TV. Like, I
Hmm.
guess they would be allowed to do it there, And like, I've even seen it here, in other cities where, it's like two or three cops, and but right there was like 4 or 5, 6 guys with one cop chilling.
Interesting.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like when I first thought of like, I did think about you since you said you used to be a cop. You have to deal with
Men and women. Yeah.
men and women, prisoners,
Yep.
so
So, Holly, the place I'm talking about in Tennessee, it's called the Ura Shrine. It's in Bristol, Tennessee. And us ladies will be going to the Ura Shrine on Tuesday. So we will do a live from there. But we're going to be investigating, but we're not going to go live. So, but we'll go live and give everyone a tour of it because there's a lot of new followers who don't know about the location. But it's a very unique place. Somebody wants to see your shirt, Adam. You have Kristen Barlow wants to see your shirt. Do you have your team shirt on? Let's see
I
it.
I do not. I have
Okay.
a
That's
Rammstein
not right.
shirt. Yeah, my favorite band, Rammstein, and I always try to wear one of their shirts. Um,
So Pam wants to know, let's see here. Adam, did you see equipment that caught your attention the most that you have not seen before?
wow, that's a good question. Hey there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say, uh, what was that thing Eric had? Uh, I don't know how to describe it, but it was
Was it
like
what
some
Eric
action.
had?
Right.
That was like I don't know, it was some type of spirit box that he had made, and it was a really cool device. I mean, it was really clear voices when they came through it. You didn't get all that the white noise with it. It was very clear. So I
Mhm.
can't. I think he calls it something. I don't know. I can't remember, but it is an awesome device. Yeah, and they were calling out my name. Remember? When me,
Mhm.
you, and
Yeah.
Pam was up there on the fourth floor, the fifth floor, everybody was commenting on my TikTok saying, Eric's looking for Mandy. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? Why is he looking for me? you know? And then they were talking about because we had a lot of our people who was with us investigating, everybody was being affected in some way, somehow. Kathy and Chris, they had an experience. I'm not for sure about my sisters really experiencing much, but Sean and Kayla and Eric, I did. I had a little experience, and you were experiencing things. So, I mean, it was crazy. So all these people are like commenting on my live, and I'm like, well, what am I missing? So Eric actually came up the stairs and he found Pam and I. You were not with us at this time. And it was funny. He came creeping upstairs and me and Pam scared the heck out of him. He said, why did you do that? Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, Sean's been scaring the hell out of me. I mean, it's just rubbing off on me, scaring
Mhm.
people. I need to
Yep.
quit.
All those noises he would make throughout the night.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when he did find me, he says, Mandy, he says, your name came through my device clear as day twice. He goes, and I'm talking, it was crystal clear. And he said, I'm pretty sure he mentioned that they captured my name on a recorder, an EVP recording of my name being said. So that's why he was wondering if I was okay. Where's Mandy? What's going on? And he was looking for me. And I'm like,
Right,
no,
right.
good. But we were introducing ourselves to the spirits. You and I, we kept saying I'm Mandy, and you would introduce yourself. So They were just repeating what they were hearing. And also, your name kept coming through the intercom box. Do you remember?
Yeah, because I think it said it twice,
I think it
two
said more
different
than
times.
that throughout the night. I was hearing it. I'm
Mhm.
like, let's keep saying Adam, Adam.
And oh, I was gonna say really quick, who was that that said hello from Ireland? In the
Seeker
comments.
James. Seeker
Who,
James.
what part of Ireland are you from? Um, and it's like, was it last year, the year before? I was at an investigation one weekend here in Texas, and the same thing. Um, the spirit box. No, no. Earlier that night on the recorder, it said my name, and then like an hour later on the spirit box, it said my name. And then the
Oh,
following weekend, I was at another place, and the same thing. We were in the spirit. We were there. The spirit box going, Adam. So like, holy, two different times, two different weekends, and then like I said, that was a year or two ago, and then fast forwarded to this past weekend. So I just thought that was really cool.
it is cool when they call your name out like that. That's you're dealing with intelligent spirits. They know your name. They're hearing you in this time, right now. So Pam wants to know: Did you? What did this experience give you that you feel you didn't have before, if any?
That next time I go to a far, far away location, I better show up the day before and not the day of. Um, no, I just, if I can take away anything from this, it's okay. Cool, cool, cool. Already nice. Um, it's just the fact that I don't want to say it's for real because it's always been real to me, but at the same time, it's being messed with, having that feeling of like something's there, like something's right there.
Yeah,
That feeling of my
your arms
arm,
are standing up. I seen it. You were like, look at my
mhm,
hair, my arms.
yeah, and just like it's there. Whatever
Yeah, Kathy,
spirits,
validation.
ghosts, something,
Yeah.
you know. And if I can tell like a little story, hello,
Hello.
me and my team, we were that same place in Jefferson, Texas, that hotel. We were up in the attic, and we're all there. And up until that point, like I always seen it on TV, how people say you're in a place, you're experiencing this, but then all of a sudden the atmosphere changes, the mood changes,
Yeah, the
like
energy
around
shift.
you, the
Yeah.
energy shift. Before that, I'm like, I never experienced that up until that point, and it does change. It does feel different around you, the air, around you. I experienced that for the first time, and I remember like we
Oh,
all But yeah, and like we all like a little bit later, we all like left, and we all felt like we got our butts kicked. Like we all felt like we were thrown down the staircase. We all felt like we were thrown out the window. We all felt beat up.
paranormal hangover.
Yes, yeah, and that night, and then like I said, this past weekend, I felt my body being affected by something that was
Yeah.
there. So,
Mm.
like it helped magnify my beliefs in this, this stuff.
Yeah. And if you paid attention, you probably noticed, and I don't know how well you were paying attention to my sisters and how, and you could, being around my sisters, I know when we're out there investigating how my energy will change real quick, like if I'm around Chastity too much. And she does irritate me, but it's worse when we're in the field. Like sometimes I have to pull away from her. And actually, when we first got to the Louise Asylum, before I got to meet you, us girls went there and we were outside, and Kathy and Chris and Pam and us and Chastity and Bobby Joe, we went and walked around the asylum. And as soon as I got to the gate, man, I felt it. It hit me hard right here. I mean, it hurts. Something was right there. And it probably lasted about 10 seconds and then it went away. And I got to thinking about, them doing the lobotomies on them people. And I felt like that's why
Mhm.
I had that such intense pressure hit me. And the other lady that was with us, Chris, she had said that she had mentioned the same thing was happening to her, when she went there before we did. So I found that interesting that we were picking up on, that type of energy. But I think something was lingering with me, because I ain't going to lie to you. After we got done eating and we got back in the car, I felt so agitated. Like my sister was all up in my space. Chastity, she was in the car. I mean, she would just lean in, and I don't know why. And I just said, "You got to get out of my space. You got to back up." And I just
Mhm.
felt something was really, really followed me from there and was lingering on me. Yeah, I felt it. And
I,
I'm so glad my sister was calm, because we're sisters. We do argue. It's just a sisterly love thing. But that was real intense. And I'm like, whoo, I'm like, whatever this is, it's strong. And I could feel
be,
it inside too.
because like to me, like the whole night you were on point to where like you were like focused on what was happening with me around where we were at. But to me, like I felt like your highest point of being super focused was when me and you were sitting in that the back there where those rooms were at, where the files were at, all that stuff, all that area. When you heard that noise, and then like your thing started malfunctioning or being drained, that whole area, like it just seemed like you were like more and more focused. And then when you were sitting on that chair, it just seemed like you were like even more focused right there. Like you were like ready to like deal with whatever came through.
Yeah.
Something would have popped out and be like, "Hey guys," you would be like, "Hey, come at us," or talk to us, come tap me on the shoulder, or
Yeah, I think when I
but
was doing the brainwave, I was getting frustrated because of the loud noise that was coming through it, and I did change the battery in it to test it, and it was working great. But then it did go back to making that loud noise. And when I talked to Katie Stafford, she was telling me, because she's one of the owners that created this device. Her and her husband Katie. I know their names sound the same, but it's two different names. But I sent her a recording of it making that loud noise. And I said, "Is this normal?" I was like, "It's not stopping." I changed the battery. It was doing good. Then it went back. She says that is where something's trying to change the frequency on the spirit box. So something else is trying to come through. She didn't say there would be anything wrong with the box when it does that. It's trying to tune in to something else, which I'm thinking, well, oh boy, what frequency is it trying to use to come through?
that I mean that does make sense. Just with like I said, with what I kept feeling back there.
Well, I kept getting agitated with it. It just, I was losing my focus point when I had to hear that noise. So I was ready to just turn it off, because I'm like, I can't focus on spirit and listen to that. It was
Mhm.
just taking my concentration away. But I did get a few things that came through that matched up with the spirit channeling that I was doing, but I don't know how much. But they said a couple things did, even though I just couldn't really focus on it. But you were right. As soon as I took that off my head, it was like game on. I'm ready.
What what was that last thing that she said?
Pam?
Or who was it?
Oh, Pam,
It went on there too quick, too fast.
you will go after anything that you see.
I yes, and um, it's just like that's that thing that happened to me, that same hotel in Jefferson, Texas, with the doll being moved, and I've told that story to a couple of different people. Most of them, half of them would say, "Oh no, if that would have happened to me, I would have like ran out of there." Some said, the same thing like I would have did, checked it out, investigated it. And I don't know, maybe the fact that at the time I was taking a bath and maybe the water helped generate energy for that. So,
Could
mm, and when I do go back to that hotel, I want to stay in that room and turn on the water and investigate with my camera on, and maybe I'll do the same thing or something else will happen. So,
Oh,
because
huh.
like I said, I would, because there they don't have showers. They only have what? Well, that room only had a bathtub. They didn't have no shower head, so I had to take a bath. So I was taking a bath, doing my thing, and that's when that doll moved. And so like I said, maybe the splashing of the water helped
Well,
create energy.
water's a conductor for spirit to use, so that's a good thing to do. Run the water, start turning on your devices, and see if you get any communication.
Mhm.
So that's another way to do it. Because when we do the spray, we're using light and we're using water, and the water is a great conductor to get these images when we do that. So they use that. Also, I wanted to say, what was your thoughts on that weird smell that we encountered on? I think was it the fourth floor or the
Right.
second floor? No, it
I
wasn't
think
the
it was
second.
before.
It was one of those floors. It wasn't second. It was you and Eric and I. And I don't know. I think Pam. I don't know if she was with us at that time. I don't know. I don't remember. But we were with Eric, and he said all of a sudden you didn't smell anything, and all of a sudden I remember I turned and I walked down the opposite direction down the hallway. You and Eric was back there around that room. I think it was you, right? Yeah, at the end of the hallway. Pam said she
I
was there, but I don't know if Pam was following me or with you and Eric. But anyway, I don't know why I went down the hall. I went to go check on something and I came back because Eric was calling me back down the hallway. He's like, Mandy, come here, you guys. He's like, smell this. And I'm like, what is this? Got down there and I said, what in the hell are we smelling? Because that smell was not down there when I walked away. It all of a sudden, man, it smelled. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm from the country here. It smelled like a damn chicken farm. As soon as I said that, Sean and them just lost it. But
mm,
look, that's what I was smelling. It smelled like a chicken farm. And the weird thing was, there was some windows that had been cracked or open, but we never smelled it outside when we all left. We didn't have no smells of it. There was no smells of it anywhere else. It just seemed to lingered up there for some reason. So, I'm not saying it was something negative, but it could have been a smell that was coming from outside. I don't know. That was the thing. We had a hard time trying to figure that out because it wasn't there. Within a matter of minutes, it was there. And when I walked into that room, at first I didn't smell like it didn't smell like a chicken farm. I smelt it smelled like the worst odor I've ever smelled in my life. Okay. It was
right.
bad. And then and Sean's like, how can you guys be in that room? And he's like gagging and he's coughing and Yeah, and so we walk in that room, and that's when I started smelling the chicken farm.
Mhm. Mhm. And like I didn't want to bring this up because I didn't want to insinuate anything, but I think it was like 2 days later, me and Kayla were chatting back and forth. I told him like, doesn't something like that usually mean something like a negative spirit or something? And she's all like, it does, but you know, it can be.
It can be, but I wasn't smelling sulfur. I was smelling the damn chicken farm, and then it started to smell like a cow farm. So I'm thinking this is coming from outside, lingering in somewhere. But some of the ladies who had joined us are on this live feed here making comments. Catherine says, if it was coming from outside, then why did it come and go? True, but it just depends on which direction the smell's coming from outside, I guess. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Right.
Christina says, we all smelled it only in that room. Next to it had a broken window and there was no smell. Hmm. It that was very weird. So it was interesting how that just appeared out of nowhere and everybody was just kind of freaking out over it. But we don't know. There was no explanation. We can't say if it was something negative or if it was just coming from outside, because we were way up in the air. Who knows? Smells travel.
Right. But at the same time, who was it that spotted that cat ball but a window like it was going off? Remember that? Like the
Oh
light
yeah,
was going
that
off.
was at the other end of the hallway. And actually, and this is why I think this smell could have been coming from outside, was because there was just a very little bit of that smell at the other end, unless whatever that was followed us. But you could smell it a little bit down there, but not like you could where it was coming from.
Hmm.
And we went back there because I remember Sean came down to the other end and he's like, how can you guys, stand this smell? I said, man, I live on out in the country. I'm used to these smells of these animals. I don't have chicken farm. I don't have no chicken farms or anything like that around me, but I have been on a chicken farm and a horse farm, cow farm, whatever. Used to live on a horse farm or cow farm. So I know what the smells are. So that's why I was thinking that's what it was lingering from somewhere. But when we were back in that room you were talking about, we had a cat ball back there, and we actually the ball was going. It kept lighting up back there by that window in that room. I mean, steadily on and off, on and off. And they said that they like to do that. They like to play with the ball, play hide and seek. But it wasn't responding to us on the questions we were asking. It just wanted to play with the ball by
Just
leaving it
that. Yep.
just lighting it up the whole time. And that was interesting. That's the only time we got any cat ball action because no REM pods went off, but the cat ball was
Yeah.
going
You're right about that. Yeah. Because I remember like we had forgotten about that one ball when you were sitting on that chair, and I think when you asked me to go put the rim pot on the ground or whatever, I came walking over here, and you're all like, "Oh, watch out for the cat ball," and I'm like, "Oh, I forgot it was there," and when nothing's happening with it. I'm like, I forgot it was there,
yeah.
so I had to pick it up, and before I tripped on it.
Well, we also ended up doing the spray back there in one of those rooms, but we didn't get anything. Did you see us when we did the spray? I don't even, was you with us?
I think that's when
I
I
think
was
you left because of
downstairs.
the smell. Yeah, I think you ended up going back downstairs. We stayed up there.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed, because I forgot who it was that told me to go stay up there with y'all and well, like so I stayed up there with y'all for a little bit longer and then I think like I went downstairs to go get a drink or eat something or something. I went down there for something and that's when y'all went up there with that spray.
Yeah. But Overall, I think it was a really active location, and I think everyone who investigated experienced something. I'm sure not. I don't know what happened to everyone. I've heard different things of people experiencing things. I think Kathy experienced something. I'm sure. Well, Chris, she experienced something. Like I said, and I know Sean of them did. But yeah, I think overall there was definitely a lot of energy in that place, and even residual. Seeker wants to know if you are a believer or a skeptic. Are you keep an open mind?
I think, to be honest, I'm like a believer is up here, an open mind is up here, but a skeptic is like in the middle, maybe a little less in the middle,
Yeah,
because because you know how there's those videos of like it shows maybe like a kitchen and then like maybe like a cup moves like that or something slides across the table or something like. To me, it's like okay, that doesn't do it for me. Now, if you were seeing the chair like get picked up, you know, thrown across the room, like okay, that makes me happy. I like seeing stuff like that, you know. But um,
have a great night, Holly.
thank you, Holly, for watching. I'll message you later. Um, but but at the same time, like not too long ago, I remember my brother-in-law asking me. He started asking me like, "What do you believe in this?" You know, just a whole list of different things. I'm like, I told him like, it's better to ask me what I don't believe in. You know, like everything I believe in so much stuff, and that's why when somebody tells me, you know, somebody from work or like a friend or something, I'm like, oh well, this happened to me or I saw this. You know, like, you know, I believe them. I'm not gonna be like, okay, you might have been drunk or you might have been asleep or you might have been something, you know. And I like to try to make them feel better by saying like, I believe you. I've heard that before, or you know, I'll keep it in mind. You know, if that answers your question in a way.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Adam, for being honest. Seeker says. So
And
go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quick, Seeker, James, if one day I like to be able to fly to Ireland, Belfast, I just
Oh,
got to
we're
get
going to
myself.
trip over to Ireland too.
I just got to like,
When I know we want to. I don't know.
yeah.
We've talked about it.
I
For
think it'll be a couple of years for me because I barely survived the 2.5 hour from Detroit to Houston. You know, the other day. Like I hate flying like a lot. Like I hate flying. Like, but it
We
sure as
flew
hell
to
beats.
Hawaii. You should have been on that plane ride. Ah, man. Ah,
Yeah, you know, you know, but like I said, like from here to Belfast, like I've had an interest in Belfast and Ireland for many years. But just having to get over there was just what's keeping me here.
huh. Awesome. So, overall, Adam, would you say you had a pretty good experience meeting everyone, meeting us girls, and so was it everything you thought it was going to be, or was it different, or the way people, investigated?
Besides me, my own doing of flying there the day of, everything else was perfect. Everything else was great, fantastic. I enjoyed meeting everybody. Thank you for having me up there and working with y'all. Um, just and that's one thing I like about meeting new people, meeting new teams, the way they do things, because everybody's different. I think you know, take different techniques, different experiments, and
Yeah,
up for learning. You know, I myself I love learning new things, and there's a lot to learn. You know, I feel so. But all in
yeah.
all, it was so much fun and I had such a blast. So thank you.
Well, good. I'm glad you took the time out of your day to fly to be with us. I know you talked about joining us on that event we did in Ohio, and you missed that one because you had an investigation. So you made sure you didn't miss this one. So they would have been, both would have been great. Either one would have been great for you to have been there. So, but you were at the one you were meant to be at. So that's why it happened the way it did. But yeah, I want to, hopefully we get to investigate again, and hopefully we come your way. My husband said, we can go to Texas. We can go. We can drive to Texas if you want to go investigate. I'm like, yeah, we could probably do that. He's like, or we could take a train. So he's talking about getting on a train and driving or whatever. So
Well, yeah, I can have me and my team work with y'all, and we and that's another thing I want to say. Thank you so much for giving props to my team, and giving my
yeah,
team name a shout out on your life to
on the
you
live,
and your
I did on
your
Facebook,
viewers.
YouTube, and TikTok. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
plenty of time. So
I
thank you
think
for that.
teams should do that. If you got someone, if you got another person with you, hey, give them a shout out. If you're into the paranormal and you like watching people, give that person a shout out, and go over there, check them guys out. They might do something different from us.
Hmm.
You never know. You just don't
And
know. And you're right. You learn new things when you're out there. Like I'm learning a lot with different things with Eric and Kayla and Sean. They do things differently, and their equipment
mhm,
they use is pretty different. But I'm still set in the way I do my thing, but it's still different techniques and different ways. But yeah, I got some interesting things coming up that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a lot of alone investigations. I want to explore alone and go in and just see what happens. Yeah, I know it's going to be interesting when I do it. I was thinking
mhm.
about going and investigating a asylum so alone. So I don't know yet. We'll see. And I've been to this location, the one I'm thinking about, and it doesn't. The signal's not the best, so that would be my luck. I'd probably lose everything and just be there all alone in the dark. I'd probably scare myself to death. So
Probably,
probably would.
maybe.
But you never know. But anyway, thank you, Adam, for jumping on here. And I wanted everyone to hear how much fun you had. And, I couldn't, there was no way I could have had 10 of us on this live feed. There's no way. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to take time to talk to you and get your, hear, your, how much fun you had, or,
For sure.
your experiences and stuff. So it was
Well,
great.
thank you. Thank you for having me on.
All right, guys. You want to give anyone a shout out, Adam, to your team, where they can find you at?
Yes, I'm part of a team here in Texas called Southern Fried Spirits Paranormal. Um,
Makes me hungry. Southern Fried.
but yes, thank you so much again, Pam, for picking me up from the airport and taking me to the hotel and investigation, and for working with everybody that was there. There was not one dull moment at all. It was so exciting. I wish I could work with all of y'all again in the future. Um, man,
Wish
just
granted, you will.
yes, yes, for sure. So, but yes, thank you everybody for coming on and asking their questions, and I hope I got to answer them to your satisfaction.
Well, awesome. All right, guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow night. I will be investigating with Sean and Kayla. I don't know if Epic Eric is joining us. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But we will be in Upper Sandusky at the Boxcar Tavern. This place is 154 years old. Very, very active location. I've investigated it 3 times, captured some really cool things. Got a spirit knocking on the door. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we get tomorrow night. So I will see you guys live tomorrow night, and I'm ghosting out.
Bye, y'all.